Oh, these are revolving accounts because like Macy's always asking you, especially for holiday shop, oh, you get 30% off if you apply for this credit card. And it's almost like a timeshare. They do not take no for an answer. And I have to be like, no, 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 no. And then as soon as I say, oh, I'm buying a house, I can't pull credit. Oh, okay. Like then they stop. Like you got a lot of these people in order to get them to hold off on making you get credit. But we have to be okay with saying no. That it boils.
Oh yeah, no is a full sentence. And as you know, the demographic of your listeners, they are probably in the age where they're getting real comfortable with the no. But in case there's somebody out there who's not quite there yet, the more you do it, the easier it gets.
Welcome to Journey to Joy Live, a podcast to promote wellness, resilience, and inspire joy. Be empowered to balance your mental, physical, financial, aspirational, and social health while providing mental health awareness and breaking down the stigma of mental illness in the Black community. I'm your host, Dr. Joy, and I'm here to help you transform life's challenges into opportunities for joy. Let's begin the journey together. Hello, everyone. We are in episode 77, Holiday Spending Without the Stress. How to afford everything and keep your joy. And I have a special guest today, and that would be Dr. Darla Bishop. And she is the author of How to Afford Everything. I knew I had it on upside down. There we go. I'm matching. I got your colors. Welcome. Thank you for being on my platform.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. You know, it's been a great day. I think I shared with you in the pre-show that you are my last podcast of the year, number 45 that I have recorded. And so we're going to have a little celebration.
Hey, that's right. You did share that. Of course, I don't have any bubbly, but I also don't drink, but I usually have like a water at least to show.
Cheers.
Woohoo, cheers. Episode number 45. That is awesome. Well, welcome. Definitely appreciate you being here. So tell everyone who you are. Share as much detail as you wish.
Yeah. So hi, I'm Dr. Darla Bishop. And as Dr. Joy told you, I am the author of How to Afford Everything. I wrote this book because on my own journey to understand and use and grow money, I realized that I had a lot of the skills to live without money. And I just needed to learn how to change them up so that I could live with money. I also have a background in public health. I actually have a doctorate. That's why I'm Dr. Bishop in public health policy. And I know and have researched, in addition to the vast lived experience, that when your money ain't right, it's hard to focus on other aspects of your wellness because your other needs come first. And so if we can work on your financial wellness, then the other parts of your wellness will also fall into place more easily. A fun fact, it's not so fun, but a fun fact that in the US, because I know you have an international audience, but in the US, if you tell me your zip code, I can tell you with crazy accuracy your life expectancy, the diseases you are likely to encounter over the course of your life, and your credit score. Now, if we work on that credit score, I can improve all of those numbers.
Whoa, just as long as you work on your credit score. Wow, that's great. So it's almost like we need to prioritize our financial wellness in order to have everything else fall into place. Because a lot of times we're talking about the social determinants of health and patient care, and we're talking to them about their lifestyle, and you need to do this, or we're thinking about students who need to do well in school. It's like if they have issues with, socioeconomic status or their class or, getting food on the table or clothes on their back, they're not worried about school. They're not worried about their physical health. So you make a good point.
Nope. And the thing about a credit score, like some people in my industry, in the financial services, the financial literacy industry, some of us like to demonize debt and say, debt is bad and debt is horrible. But actually, if you have a strong credit score, when things do go not so great, maybe there's a job loss, maybe there's an illness, maybe there's an interruption in income. Having strong, good credit allows you to weather that storm much longer so that you can actually prevent financial ruin. Like, it might get bad for a few years. Yes, your debt might go up a bunch, but you can weather that storm much better if you have a strong credit score, because that gives you access to lower cost debt, more debt, should that be the thing you need to weather the financial storm and then the physical storm.
That is interesting. And a lot of people do rely on credit score. So I have a question. Now, do you look into Dave Ramsey Peace University? Have you looked into
Yeah. So here's the thing. Dave teaches money differently than I would.
Correct, because he talks about that credit score. We didn't say don't worry about it, but like he doesn't care about it. Like you should
Yeah, he's like, look,
care about
your credit score is your report card at how good you are at using debt. Okay. He's not wrong. It is. Your credit score is a report card for how good you are at using debt. How much you take, how much you use, how much you pay back. That is an accurate statement.
Yeah.
What I don't like is the judgment attached to that, because let me tell you, if it wasn't for debt, I wouldn't have a college degree. If it wasn't for debt, I wouldn't have been able to get the reliable car that took me to my first very well-paying job.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that, I might not have had a suit to go to the interview that got me the well-paying job.
Yeah.
And so to say that debt is evil and debt doesn't take you, let me tell you about how I'd much rather have access to even a very high 28% credit card than the 400% interest that comes if I have to use a check cashing place or a payday advance place, because I had some type of emergency and didn't have other options for solving that problem.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you 100%, because when I took the Peace University, I was just like, oh, really? I mean, like you said, he makes sense, but, I had $400,000 of student loan debt, and, it did get forgiven, thankfully, but it was a reflection of me getting a medical degree. So it's like, sometimes you have to do it, and I think it's okay.
And how did picking up a book, because the part that frustrated me, that pushed me to finally write my own book, is I was on the search for the information, right? I was like, look, money is a skill. If I can learn the skill, I've learned all these other skills. If I can learn the skill of money, then I'll know how to do it and everything else will be fine. And I was right. But what would frustrate me so much is I'd pick up a book that I paid money for. Well, actually, not usually, because I love the library. Hi, use your library, get a library card. They even have ebooks and audiobooks if that is your preferred method for taking in that information. Is I went through the effort of finding the book, picking up the book. Here I am reading the book, and one of the first things you want to tell me is I'm stupid and I made bad decisions. No, that's not where we're going to start. We are going to start with, I'm proud of you for making a decision to do something different. That's where we're going to start. So that's why I wrote this book. The other thing that frustrated me so much about all the books I read is very few of them gave me credit for the skills I did already have from growing up in poverty, learning how to steal from Peter to pay Paul, learning how to stretch, learning how to use resources, learning how to lean on. Like, it didn't say, hey, you have those skills and those are actually can help you. We just got to do them a little bit differently. You got to do them in a slightly different order. You got to ask questions in a slightly different way, but you got the skills. We just got to flip them.
That's really good to start with. Because sometimes I feel like we don't have the skills, because we're kind of breaking down like a culture, a cycle, a generational curse, that kind of thing, because all we know is like, let's spend money, let's spend money. We don't learn to save it. We don't learn about trust. We don't learn about retirement plans. Our people, we just don't learn about those things. And so we're used to, I hate budgeting, right? Like, I have this mental block when it comes to like budgeting, but I have to do it, or else
is budgeting how am I gonna know a bad word? For you, is budgeting a bad word?
It's the B word of the household. Yes, it is a bad word, Dr. Darla.
No, budgeting is not a bad word. She doesn't know she's my friend yet, but my friend, the budget Nisa Tiffany Alicia, she says the budget is your yes plan, right? A budget is what helps you understand what you can say yes to. And my addition to that is the budget is what you can say yes to now versus later. Because when it comes to affording everything, it isn't always about yes versus no. Sometimes it's about now versus later, or this first, then that. Right. And so that's one of the ways that makes it feel a lot less heavy, a lot less stressful, a lot less limiting, because it's like, okay, so right now we are focused on this. Because when we focus on this will make the pathway for this, and then this, and then this.
Yes, and I know that it will help me feel better, the certainty of knowing the budget and then feeling more organized. So I know all those things, but there's like this huge mountain of creating the budget and then getting over that. And everything's like smooth sailing. Cause I go off and on. So I've done a budget, I've done those things, and then I fall it off, and then it's like, oh, gotta get back to it. So I definitely understand for those who don't create a budget, but it's definitely very important to have a budget. I agree with you.
And maybe you're doing it wrong. And like, sorry, I said it, but that's how I
That's
talk.
all
So
right.
we just having the conversation.
I'm all
Like
for it.
sometimes when we go to budget, we build a budget based off of how we wish life was
Oh, okay.
versus how it actually is, right? Like when I'm working with someone one-on-one, you know, I recently worked with someone, I guess it's been a year now. And she said, I almost didn't get in touch with you because I just knew you were going to tell me I couldn't go out to eat twice a week because we go out to eat
There it
about
is.
twice a week. And I was like, no, boo. She's like, I'm a single mom. Those 2 nights that I don't have to cook is what's keeping me sane. It's keeping me from dropping this baby off to his daddy. Like, you know, like if we were having a serious but silly conversation,
Mhm.
but that's true. So I'm like, no, if that's your lifeline right now, then we're going to figure out how to keep that in your life. We can't be
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm never going to eat out. I'm never going to
Yeah.
order from Amazon. I'm never going to do that. That is unrealistic. And that's how you
You
set
gotta
yourself
say that
up to
Amazon
fail.
thing again for my husband
I
to hear
did.
you.
Right, right. And then like one of the challenges that I'm putting in my email list, so we see if people unsubscribe off of seeing this. I'm like, go run your Amazon report and see where your money went this year. If you've been feeling broke, I bet you might find. One year I did this and I ran a report. My sister and I share an Amazon account. And I saw that we had 30% more purchases. And I said, Nina, my sister's name is also Nina.
Oh, nice.
And I said, so Nina, just in case, if you've been feeling a little broke lately, I want you to know that our Amazon purchases have gone up 30% this year. So that might be why. And she was like, why you in my business?
Exactly. Yeah, it's those little baby things for me. So Amazon, even though that's not a baby thing, but those Netflix accounts, the Audible account, the Adobe account, those little things that are like, oh, it's $9.99. I can do that. YouTube Music, I can do that. But then they all add up. And then they sneak on you and they change the price. Now all of a sudden that $9.99 is $14.99. And then yeah, they sneak on you. And then now you're stressed out because maybe you're doing things right. You have things on auto pay, but then now you don't have enough money in the account. So now that auto pay comes out, now you're negative. And so then that creates all the stress and the anxiety. So this is all wrapped into our mental wellness, which is why we're talking about this. So we're talking about the holiday spending as well. And we all get in, I shouldn't say we all, because I feel like I've given up doing gifts a while ago, but majority of us get caught up with spending this money. I gotta get a gift. I gotta do that. And really, those people, it's December 19th. So those people probably done did all the gift spending. But for our last minute people, what are some tips for how we can spend money sanely or just kind of decide not to spend the money?
So one, the first thing is like, in case you need permission, I am here. You can tell them that your doctor told you that you have permission not to do any more holiday shopping. So that's one. You have permission. If you need to be done because you don't have the time, because you don't have the energy, because you don't have the money, because remember, we got to work in all three. We got to work in time, energy, and money. If you low on any of those, you have permission to be done shopping until after December 25th. Because you might not see that person until after December 25th anyway.
Right.
The second thing I'll say is if somebody gave you a gift card, now I might get a little hate on this, but you know what? Bring it in the comments because I'm a Leo. I have a doctorate and tonight I have time. So if somebody gave you a gift card this season, do not hold on to that gift card. You use that gift card as money right now to finish your list.
Yeah.
Because do you know that Starbucks has like 1.7 billion with a B billion dollars in unredeemed gift cards in their bank account collecting interest.
Really?
Yes, 1.7 billion with the B dollars because somebody gave you a $10 gift card. You're like, oh, I'm gonna save it, or you put it away and you won't see it ever again. So collecting interest for Starbucks. So if somebody gave you a gift card, do not hoard it. Put it in your wallet and use it as part of your holiday spending. Right now. This week.
Yeah, that's great. Why are people holding on to gift cards? Because then they expired and now I get all the money.
But think about it. Like, if you've I want you to put yourself in the shoes of your mom. So you might be able to relate to this even more. Like you haven't been able to treat yourself in a while. You've been taking care of the family. An emergency came up right before Christmas. So it's already tighter than usual. And you're like, well, if I hold on to this gift card in January, once I got everything settled, I can use this to go get myself a new shirt or to get my eyebrows done by the lady who does them really good, but is a little bit expensive. Or I can get the fancy nail design instead of just nail polish, right? Like, and so you might be saving it really because you're looking to have an opportunity to treat yourself when you haven't had room to do that. And I get that. I promise you I do. And spend the money now because it's more likely that you will put that gift card somewhere and you won't see it until next year.
Exactly. That's very true. Yeah, because them gift cards don't last forever. So that's
They don't.
some good
Yeah.
stuff.
The third thing I'm going to tell you is when you are out and it's after the holidays and you're like, okay, there are a few people that I really did want to get something for.
Yeah.
Think about who that person is and what they really want from you. Because sometimes we get in the spirit of the season, we get focused on giving a gift, a physical representation of our love, of our appreciation, when that person might really just want to sit with you. Where that person might just want to live life with you. Like, honestly, I'm turning 40 in 2025. And one of the things that I'm looking forward to, and I've already put most of my friends on notice, is like, I'm coming to live life with you for 2 days. Your month is April, your month is May, your month is June. I am coming to your house. And if what we do in that day is cleaning the fridge and going to the grocery store, fine. But I want to be with you. I haven't been in your presence in too long and I'm over it. And you didn't believe me when I told you I needed to see you last year. So I will be at your house.
You got all these long distance relationships,
right? All these long distance relationships. I need to smell you. What the old folks say. I need to smell him. Like, and so it's think about who you're dealing with. And do they want a gift? Okay, then give them a gift. But maybe they actually need a little money. Give them some money. Maybe they just want your time. So like we get caught up and sometimes we give the time to the people who just want the money or the money who just want the time. And then we get all in a mix. And so like take the extra beat and say, okay, does this person want time? Do they want money or do they want action? And then give that.
Right. And you're really thinking about it from like the 5 love languages scenario. There's 5 love languages for kids as a parent, and then, obviously for your spouse, but then for friends too. I mean, if your friend just loves service and, you go in there and spending time and cleaning out their refrigerator for them or something like that, maybe they're not a gift giving type of love language and it's okay to just be there or to spend that quality time for them. That is that's really good nugget that you got there. Love it. Love it. This is very, very good stuff. It sounds like making a budget. It sounds like paying attention to what our friends really want for the holiday so that we're not spending all this money. What else can we do to be able to afford everything, Dr. Darla? We want them to get the book, obviously, but what else can you tell us about how we can afford it?
Yeah. One of the secret weapons in your journey to all wellness, but especially financial wellness, is your calendar.
Oh, nice.
Because if you can look ahead to what is happening in your life, like who has a birthday, who's getting married, who's having a baby, what trips do we have coming up? Is there a bill that's coming up that doesn't happen every month, but maybe it's a quarterly bill or a once a year bill? Do we have something that just happens to cost more during this particular season of our lives? Are the children in our lives participating in sports or dances or graduating? Right? Like if you can look at your calendar and look at this month and plus 2 more, so about 3 months out, and just get a sense for what's coming up, because everything on your calendar has, of course, a time consequence, but also a money and energy consequence. And so which days do you need to make sure you get your butt in bed because you need to get up early to get so-and-so to practice or to their recital or to whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Which months do you need to have a little bit of extra cash on hand because it's 3 field trips and the registration fee is due and your car registration is due. Right. And so you can make, because has that not happened to you? You're like, oh shoot, this time.
Never. Yeah, all the time.
All the time, right? And so if you
$5 penalty.
Right. But that $5 could have been one of the baby's lunch for the field trip.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you can take a break, pause and look ahead in your calendar and just make a real quick plan, for what has a time, money, and energy consequence. And then like, okay, how are we gonna do that? Okay, what I need to move around. Okay, what I need to switch. And then for those of us who have the ability to vary our income, that also gives you a heads up, like, oh, I need to pick up an extra shift, or I need to go ahead and finalize that contract, or I need to go ahead and do a couple Uber or DoorDash trips, right? For those of us who have the ability to play with our income in that way, if you know something's coming up, you can do it in advance.
Yeah, yeah, or people who are hairstylists and things like that. What about those on a fixed income? They can't do that.
Yeah, it's harder to do. So if you're on a fixed income, then what you have to do is kind of the opposite. You have to be real tight on what goes out, right? Because since you don't have additional coming in, you have to be really tight on what comes out. Okay, so what do we need? Can we live out this pantry and or freezer this week a little bit heavier so that the grocery bill is lower, so that it can make the room for the sports fee or for the car registration, right? So if you can play with your income, play with your income. If you can't play with your income, then be real tight about what goes out the door. This is when you lean on the free events for your kids. Like if you have little kids, you know, my kids are high energy because they're in that age where they need to jump and flip and yell.
Exactly.
And so instead of going 4 and 6.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. And so instead of us going to the trampoline park at $20 per kid, that week we're going to the free playground. We're going to bundle up and we're going to the park. We're going to the library activity. We're going to the music thing. We're going to the free thing. So that way that money stays in my wallet for that expense that's coming up.
That's really important because even we were thinking about going to the zoo because we'll be in Detroit next week. And we were like, yeah, the zoo has all the lights, the holiday lights and this, that, and the other. My sister sent me them tickets. I said it was $24 a ticket. I was like, wait, is it $24 a car? No, this is you get out and you walk. I'm like, yeah, we're going to do something else.
No, you go ahead and Google neighborhoods with great light displays and you drive through the neighborhoods with great light displays. You can even make it super fancy, pop some popcorn and give it to the kids in the back seat.
Yeah.
But that is a much more cost effective. Let them put on their pajamas even. You can make a beautiful experience out of it, right? And do it for $20 total because it was the gas, because maybe you had to drive out to the nicer neighborhood with the big light display, or maybe you drove to multiple neighborhoods because maybe they were spread out, right? Maybe you went ahead and got some hot cocoa and you had to make sure you had a thermos for them. But that $20, it makes a beautiful night of memories and $8.24 per person to go to the zoo.
Exactly. That reminds me of what we did for Halloween because Halloween was just so fun, but it was just so simple. We played Thriller. We had Thriller on a loop and just go into the fancy the neighborhood. Actually, it wasn't even that far, but they had like everybody was passing out candy. We didn't pay for nothing, barely any gas. And so I didn't even think of that for Christmas. That makes a lot of sense. To make it real fun and play some Christmas holiday music. We probably the only car because they were like, what they doing? But we're just looking at lights, and that sounds like a lot of fun. So thinking about the free holiday activities or being negative, like you said.
Yeah. And I mean, and like, don't get me wrong. I know that if you're struggling financially, it's hard to be creative, right? Because all your mental energy is tied up in surviving, how we gonna do, how we gonna manage. And so any chance you get to tap into that creativity, even if it's in the name of, well, how am I going to make this work, is good for your brain. Because you start to get those neural connections around, okay, I am a creative person. Oh, I have figured this out before. Because the more evidence you and your brain have for that, that becomes the default. Like I got so good, my brain is so trained that sometimes I'm so busy, like, okay, well, if we do this, if we do this, if we do that, and my husband be like, we can just do this, right? And I'll be like, oh, right. Well, look at that. Because my brain is so trained to figure it out that it sometimes misses the obvious, just walk through the door.
Exactly. That's true. That's why it's good to bounce ideas off your spouse and things like that. So that's really good. And honestly, there's all kinds of reels out there where people got all the ideas, DIY stuff that doesn't even cost money. So, I mean, all you have to do is look on Instagram real quick. And it's so funny. I saw a reel where they're just like, give your kids what they're actually going to play with. They're wrapping up remotes and wrapping up the keys. I know last year we saved some of my toddler's birthday gifts and then we wrapped them up for Christmas. And there was
Yep.
some that he even saw and opened, but just had never, well, opened it, he unwrapped it, but had never actually used it. So we rewrapped it and said, here you go. He just loved it. So being
Oh,
creative.
I'm good for that because I have in-laws who I absolutely love because I'll be honest, I have a strange relationship with Christmas. Thank you, trauma.
Yeah.
But my in-laws do it really big for the kids. So that's actually really helpful for me because it allows me to in some ways opt out. Like I don't have to do all the things that still don't quite feel great for me when it comes to Christmas, but my kids still get to have a beautiful magical time because the grandparents took care of it. And they always overdo it, even though for years I have told them these babies don't need nothing. I buy them stuff all year long. Like, get whatever you thought you were going to spend, cut it in half, give me the cash so I can put it into their bank account so that 20 years from now, when they're going to college, maybe they actually have a chance of being paid for. They don't listen. It's fine. So when they overdo it, we go through the pile. Okay, what fits, what doesn't fit, what's a toy, and I will either save something for later. We put it in the gifts for other kids piles because we in the birthday parties every couple weeks zone because we just want, and we're a military family. We move every few years, so I don't need all that stuff in my house.
Oh yeah,
I don't need all that stuff in my house. So I'm not a minimalist, but I'm like a mediumalist. Like I don't need 3 sizes of clothes in the house. Like current in the next, yes, but 3, no.
Yeah, that's hard for me. I know I need to clean. I took 5 bags of clothes to Goodwill and threw out 4 bags. That's 9 bags total. And I still got a closet full of stuff that I barely wear. So my husband's trying to make me be a minimalist. That I probably can't do, but maybe I'll tell him about mediumalist.
Mediumalist. Yes. In moderation.
Yeah. Okay, so we're talking about keeping our joy in the face of stress. We said keep a budget, find free activities, looking at your calendar, planning ahead. Those are all things for you to be able to, not be caught off guard. Because when you're caught off guard, that's when the panic comes in. What are some other strategies that can help us be able to be prepared? Oh gosh, not to mention emergencies, floods. That I had 2 floods in the house this year. So not to mention that, what are some other strategies that you help your clients with?
Yeah, so we actually, maybe last week, it had to be last week. I got the pleasure. You see, I've been through therapy. I got the pleasure of buying a new furnace unexpectedly 13 days before Christmas.
I love it.
Congratulations to me. But thankfully, because we have for a long time have been diligent about keeping an emergency fund. And when we move, because we do move frequently, our average is going up, but we move every 2.7 years. Right now is our average. And so every house that we live in is slightly different. So when we move, we adjust our emergency amount, right? Because when we live in a townhouse that's rented and we don't really have any responsibilities for repair, that emergency fund can actually go down. So we put that fund money somewhere fun or in an investment account. When we live in a house that we have purchased and like right now we live in a house that's right at that age where things are likely to break. And so we increased our emergency fund because we were like, just the age of this house, stuff is probably going to break. So let's just start stacking some money. And one of my favorite tricks for doing that is act like I'm gonna buy this thing. So for example, if I'm thinking I want to change my car, so if I want to change my car payment might be $600. So what I will do is sometime between the 1st and the 5th of every month is I'm going to take $600. I'm going to pay myself by putting that into a savings account. Because what that does is it trains me for the car payment that might come whenever I decide to actually go get a car. Spoiler alert, I'm not doing it because I did it for 2 months and I was like, I'm not paying for a car. My car.
You can't do it. Look at that.
I can do it. Right. And then I also, by doing that, 4 to 6 months ahead of a bigger purchase or an upgrade, you build up a little bit of a cushion in your emergency fund or towards your down payment. And so actually putting some money away. And now, if $600 sounds crazy because you couldn't even afford gas last week, then figure out what is the amount that you can do without going to touch it, even if it's $5, because what we're actually building is the habit of winning, of the habit of putting money away and leaving it there until the emergency actually comes to call for it.
Wow.
Because then once you do it, even if 6 months pass and all you did was $5 out of every paycheck, you might have a couple $100 in there, right? Like $60. And you're like, well, $60 isn't much, but it's $60 that you were able to put away and keep there. Well, can I do 10? Now, all of a sudden, a year has passed and you have almost $200 put into a savings account that you've been able to leave there. And it's small, but do not despise like small beginnings, right? Because you've proven to yourself, you have evidence that you are capable, and that as soon as your money is different, as soon as the money coming in is higher or the money going out is lower, that you can do it because you have been doing it.
That's really good. I really like that. And it also reminds me of impulsive spending when, it comes to like, oh, let me get that, let me get that, let me get that. What you're also saying can be like a strategy of like putting things to the side instead of actually buying that thing, put it to the side or put it in the savings and, think about it, spend some time thinking about it before you buy it. And you realize like, oh, wait, I actually don't need that thing. And then now it's in the savings. So just leave it there. It's actually, you actually kind of spent the money, but not on the thing because you still have it because it's in your savings. So that's one.
That's right. And the thing that I try to remind people, if we identify when we look at their money, what's coming in and what's going out, if it turns out that the issue isn't as much income as it is outgoings, the spending, then I say, I want to tell you something. Do you know why they call it a store? Do you know why they call it a store?
No. Is there like a deeper meaning?
The reason they call it a store is because they will store the items for you. So if you are in the store and you're not sure if you need it or if you want it, or you're like, oh, let me get that right now. Go ahead and pause and be like, it's a store. They will store it for me. Let me go home and check to make sure I actually need this. Let me go home and think about it to see if I actually want this, because there are people who are paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to make the store feel exciting. The lighting is right. The music is right to get you in the mood to spend. And so get yourself out the mood to spend by leaving. And if it turns out when you go home, you really did need that item, or shoot, you just want it because it's okay to want stuff. Baby, it's okay to want stuff. I'm glad you want stuff. Then make a plan for how you're going to get that, but don't buy it in the moment because the store will store it for you. You can wait 24 hours to think about it, to make sure you still feel good about it, because the best you'll ever feel about it is right there in the store.
Yeah, and not to mention sales and discounts. Like they really get people to spend money that they weren't even planning on spending. I get the Bath and Body Works text saying, "Oh, buy 3 get 3 free." I wasn't even thinking about them candles or body washes. I'm like, oh yeah, there's the sale.
Okay, so Nina, you got homework. Hi. So Professor Bishop is checking into this conversation. Your homework is next time you get one of the texts, you hit stop or unsubscribe. Get them people out your phone. Get them people out your phone. The second thing, get them people out your phone. And in the new year, if you don't already have a throwaway email account like Nina Shops or Nina Online or Nina Reward at whatever your favorite internet thing is, from going forward, I need you to open up a second separate email account that you only use for online shopping. And every time you place an order, every time you request a coupon code, you use this separate email address. And so this means that all of your order confirmations will also go here. But the reason you have to do it is because how many times have you ordered something that you really didn't need? The kids needed it, you needed it, the business needed it. And then all of a sudden you're getting 3 emails a week from the store and you're like, I need nothing else from you. Why are you emailing me? Right? So get them folks out your main inbox that you check every day, because then you get to decide when you interact with them. You say, oh, the baby need new shoes. I like the shoes from this store. Let me go into Nina Shops at fillintheblank.com, see if they sent me a coupon code. And I promise you in the last 7 days they did, but you didn't see it until you went and looked for it.
Until you wanted it. Yeah, until you were looking.
You wanted it. Right. Get them folks out your inbox and out your text, because I promise you that 10% that you got off by giving them your phone number, if you stop the next time you go shop, if you give them your phone number again, you'll get the 10% again. It's okay. You can go in and out as much as you want.
And And also, that's a segue into these revolving accounts because like Macy's always asking you, especially for holiday shop, oh, you get 30% off if you apply for this credit card. And it's almost like a timeshare. They do not take no for an answer. And I have to be like, no, 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 no. And then as soon as I say, oh, I'm buying a house, I can't pull credit. Oh, okay. Like then they stop. Like you had a lot of these people in order to get them to hold off on making you get credit. But we have to be okay with saying no. That it boils.
Oh yeah, no is a full sentence. And as you know, the demographic of your listeners, they are probably in the age where they're getting real comfortable with the no. But in case there's somebody out there who's not quite there yet, the more you do it, the easier it gets. The more you do it, the easier it gets. And when it comes to those store credit cards, you know, I tell college students when I'm talking to college students, don't apply for a credit card that came to find you. If you was walking on the diag and they were like, do you want this Frisbee? Do not give up your social security number for a Frisbee, for a hat.
A free t-shirt. They attacked us when I first got to Michigan.
Yeah, no, like they will, you know that most of the time they'll give you the t-shirt even if you don't apply. Do not give them folks your social security number for a dang on t-shirt. Do not apply for a credit card that came looking for you. You go find, you want a credit card? Great. Having a credit card, it can be really helpful. You never know when you need to all of a sudden hop on a flight or a Greyhound or a train to get home because of some family emergency and the person who normally would pick you up can't. Right? Yes, get a credit card, build your credit, buy something on it, pay it off, like build it up. That's a great thing to do. And don't go open a credit card that came and found you. You go find the credit card that meets the way you spend money.
The interest rate is probably high.
For something.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, we done talked about a lot, and I really appreciate it. We're not going to share too much because we want them to go buy the book, How to Afford Everything. So you're on Journey to Joy Live. I always ask my guests, what is your journey to joy been like?
My journey to joy has been getting to a realization that it is my job to invest in my happiness.
Oh, wow.
It's nobody else's job. My husband loves me and he does really good things to keep our home healthy and happy, but it's not his job to keep my happiness, my tank full. And so if you are in a place where things and you are not feeling great, what have you done to invest in your happiness? And if the answer is nothing, put yourself on the list because it is your job. You are the only one who lives in this body. You are the only one who has this brain. It is your job. So take some responsibility and do something about it.
I love it. Thank you so much. It's almost like I got you to say that because it is your job. It's a decision. You can choose to enter your journey to joy. And you really can't rely on other people. You have to build that up. And if for some reason you can't, that's where professional help and support is for. So I really appreciate you coming on. In fact, I've been talking, coming on live in the last few weeks. Haven't even mentioned my own Detroit events.
Yes, you're having a Detroit event. This is how all this got started.
Exactly.
We were trying to get it together so I could come hang out with you on December 27th in Detroit.
Right.
But I will unfortunately be out of town. But all the people listening, if you're going to be in the Detroit area, go see Dr. Joy. And you're going to have so much fun with her. I'm like real sick that I can't go. I mean, I'm going to be that's my spa day actually. So I'm not that sick.
Oh,
nice. I got a whole spa day planned for that day.
Right. You out of the country, right?
So, I might as well be because don't call this phone.
Hey,
it's gonna be in a little spa locker. They're gonna be waking me up in between treatments. Miss Bishop.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Miss Bishop, your masseuse is ready. Okay, all right, I'll be right there. That's me. But on December 27th, if you are in or around Detroit, go to Nina's events. Where is the event again?
Yes, it's at Jim's Community Center in Michigan, Woodward. It's a really cute place. So it's like cozy, intimate. My brother-in-law, who also did the graphics for the Enjoyno, he is Starvin Marvin and has his woo, you got it. Yeah. Thank you. So he's the creator of Dump Cake Delight. So you can come in and taste some treats. The dump cake is really good. And I'll also have experts as well, Dr. Kanisha Evans, who's representing physical health, as well as Gail Perry Mason, who's representing financial wealth. And
wait, you got Gail to come?
I did. Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was either of you guys. So I felt like I was winning regardless.
You are winning. Okay. You got Gail Perry Mason. All right.
Hey, yes. And AJ Davenport Hatter, who is a self-care coach. So we're going to come in, we're going to have little expert corners. It's an in and out type of thing. You don't have to worry about being there from 4 to 7. It's small. So stroll in, get your enjoyno sign, talk to some experts, and head on out. Yeah. So I appreciate you for coming on, Dr. Darla. You are absolutely amazing. I've been following you. You doing some big things. I'm taking notes.
You know what? And part of it is because I'm having so much fun. I'm
Yeah.
having so much fun talking about money and helping people see the different ways, because there are so many ways to get it right. There are so many ways to get it right. There are millions of ways to get it right. We just got to find the one that feels good for you, because it feels good to feel good about money. Okay.
That's good. That's good. I feel good. Thank you. Because that's my weakest point when it comes to these 5 areas of health: the physical, the mental, the aspirational, social. I think I got a good grasp on that. Financial, it's a constant work in progress. So thank you. I'm taking notes myself and I'm going to use those. Appreciate you.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Don't go anywhere. This has been an Enjoy Life production. If you're in a crisis, don't hesitate. Call, text, or chat 988 for immediate support. Please note, this podcast is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional treatment. If you're looking for therapy or medication management through Enjoy Life, visit www.drenjoylife.com to request a consultation. I accept Aetna for Georgia residents, and out-of-pocket services are available for others. I'm licensed in Georgia, Florida, Michigan, Tennessee, Maryland, Wisconsin, New Hampshire, Illinois, Virginia, and Minnesota. Be sure to grab your copy of the Enjoyno on Amazon for $39.08 to help you on your wellness journey. And remember, Journey to Joy Live is every Thursday at 7 p.m. Thank you for joining me. And until next time, may you continue to transform challenges into joy.